Now that we've left the horrifying dumpster fire that was 2020, let's move on to a more positive and exciting thing, the games of 2021. 2020 may have sucked for the whole world, but the games were absolute bangers, and we're hoping 2021 is more of the same. We've got some exciting games coming out this year, some that'll be taking the full advantage of the next-gen consoles that dropped last November. So let's get into GamePlanet's 10 most anticipated 2021 games. Far Cry 6. So starting out at number 10, we've got Ubisoft Far Cry 6, a game that we've been patiently waiting for since we rolled credits on Far Cry 5. Far Cry 6 takes us to Yara, a fictional Caribbean island, where this time we're facing off with a dictator, played by everyone's favorite villain, Giancarlo Esposito. I mean, how could you not be excited? This is the man who played Moff Gideon in The Mandalorian and Gustavo Fring in Breaking Bad. The man's the best villain in the world. In Far Cry 6, you'll be toppling his evil regime with guerrilla warfare tactics. And of course, it'll have the standard Ubisoft open world map. But honestly, I don't really mind when it comes to the Far Cry games, considering how diverse each and every map is. It's been a while since we've gotten a gritty first-person open world game, so yeah, we're very excited to get our hands on Far Cry 6. Now, this is the first of many first-person shooters on our list, so keep on watching. Back 4 Blood. Okay, so we haven't had a proper zombie co-op shooter in a while, ever since the Left 4 Dead games kinda just disappeared. Well, lucky for us, because the original Left 4 Dead devs have banded together to create Back 4 Blood, which is pretty much Left 4 Dead 3, but they can't call it that because, well, legal reasons, all that stupid crap. And honestly, the game feels like a proper continuation of the franchise. Plus, it's a multi-platform, so every player will be able to get their hands on this one. We recently played the closed alpha for Back 4 Blood, and it gave us huge flashbacks to the early Left 4 Dead days. Seriously, the action was fast, fluid, and the game made it a clear point that you'll have to work together with your squad mates to actually get the job done. Once the game is out, we can't wait to jump back in with our old Left 4 Dead squad. If you thought that was the only zombie game on our list, wait till you see number 4. But for now, let's move on to another horror game. Resident Evil Village. Resident Evil is having a bit of a resurgence these days with their brilliant remakes of older games, and the award-winning, franchise reinvigorating Resident Evil 7 Biohazard that brought a first-person perspective to the game. Now we've got Resident Evil Village on the horizon, which is bringing Ethan Winters back to the series, as well as Chris Redfield. This one's going to be absolutely insane! And what's even better, it's built from the ground up for next-gen consoles, which means it'll be one of the first third-party games that won't have to limit development to accommodate older consoles. Seriously, I cannot wait to see what horrors Capcom has in store for us in 2021. Deathloop. Deathloop. It's made by Arcane Studios, the folks who brought us these stealthy Dishonored games. This time, however, it's all gung-ho, as you're an assassin stuck in a time loop who has to kill 8 targets before the time loop resets. To make things even more complicated, there's another assassin trying to thwart you. Honestly, it's a complex game, and we're just hoping the gameplay is as complex as Dishonored was. We're also super hyped for this one because it seems to be one of the first proper PS5 exclusives that was made for the console ground up. With how fast the SSD for the console is, we can only imagine how quickly the time loops will reset.
Even though I don't fully understand the situation.
Alright, this one's a bit weird because, well, Bethesda is publishing Deathloop as an exclusive for the PS5, but the studio was also recently bought out by Xbox. Regardless of the awkwardness, Deathloop looks like an absolute blast. Well, speaking of Xbox, let's move on to an exclusive for you Microsoft heads. Halo Infinite. Ah, yes, Halo. Sweet, sweet Halo. The bread and butter of each Xbox console. Originally supposed to launch alongside the Xbox Series X and S, the game was pushed back to 2021.
The UNSC lost this war months ago.
to help flesh out and improve the game after some lackluster fan and industry responses. Well, what can we say that hasn't already been said about Halo? It's a consistently decent and exciting franchise, and we're just looking forward to how 343 Industries takes the series in a post-Xbox One world. Plus, Halo Infinite is going to function as an open-world game, something that has never been done before in the franchise. We're really looking forward to seeing how Halo can evolve as the Xbox Series X and S become the new go-to consoles. Now, let's move on to a hotly anticipated PlayStation 5 exclusive. Horizon Forbidden West. Aloy is back, and this time she's going out west, folks. It's been 4 years since Guerrilla Games released one of the best open-world games of the generation, and we can't wait to see what they've got cooked up for us in the new year. Now, we haven't seen gameplay from Horizon Forbidden West as of yet, but we really don't care. It's probably going to be perfect, just like the first game. Now, it's a bit disappointing that the game will release for both PS4 and PS5, but the PS5 version is reportedly built from the ground for the next-gen console, so we're hoping it takes full advantage of the PS5's bells and whistles. Now, let's move on to another zombie game, shall we? Dying Light 2. Okay, so now we're approaching some of the games we really want to get our hands on ASAP.
We can count bodies later. The city's waiting for water.
Stop!
So Dying Light 2 is a sequel to 2015's Dying Light, which operated as a mix of Mirror's Edge parkour and Left 4 Dead style combat. Dying Light was a huge breath of fresh air and definitely surprised us with its fluidity and interesting Middle Eastern setting. Details are relatively slim on Dying Light 2, and it has a rocky production to say the least, but we're really hoping it sticks to its 2021 release date, just because it'll pair quite greatly alongside Back 4 Blood. We do know the game takes place 15 years after the OG Dying Light, and that we'll be playing as a new protagonist named Aiden Caldwell. Plus, it'll scratch the parkour itch, because we haven't had a solid first-person parkour game in a minute. And as expected, the co-op is back, which means we can't wait to assemble a squad and take on some really fast zombies. Alright, our top 3 is a bit of a blast from the past, but one you'll definitely love. Before we get into it, be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps us out and lets us bring videos like these directly to you. Gotham Knights. We haven't had a Batman game since 2015's Batman Arkham Knight, and while even though Gotham Knights doesn't have Batman, we're still excited to play as characters from the Bat family. You see, in Gotham Knights, Batman is dead, and it's up to the Bat family to take over and save Gotham. You can play as Red Hood, Robin, Nightwing, or Batgirl as you take down the Court of Owls. The game has been described as an RPG where you can level up your characters, and there'll also be some co-op to help make the experience all more exciting. We've been craving a DC game for a while, so we're really hyped for this one, especially because we get to play as characters we've never played as before. Mass Effect Legendary Edition. This is a game that fans have been clamoring for years, a proper remaster of the Mass Effect games for modern consoles. The Mass Effect trilogy is probably the best trilogy in all of gaming, and it's filled with choices that drastically impact your story, as well as amazing combat and RPG options. Now, the first game in the series is kinda a dinosaur, so BioWare is reportedly making it more in tune with the other two for this remaster/remake. Details are really slim on what exactly will be changed for this bundle, but all we want is better graphics, better frame rates, and just an overall smooth experience that'll make binging this trilogy an absolute blast. Now, our final game, let's move on to another sci-fi saga set in space. LEGO Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. Okay, I'm gonna go off script and fanboy a bit, but it doesn't matter because it's the end of the video anyway. LEGO Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga is GamePlanet's most anticipated game of 2021. The folks over at Traveler's Tales aren't just remastering the other LEGO Star Wars games. No. They've completely remade each and every freaking film with modern gameplay techniques and graphics. Seriously, this is the first time we're getting all 9 Star Wars stories to play through, and that too in the familiar LEGO style. What's even more hype is that you can play each movie in any kind of order, making it a completely free roam experience. even though the sequel trilogy did kinda suck. We're still excited to go through the levels and revisit the classic levels from the mid-2000s. Well, there you have it, folks. 10 games we just can't wait to get our hands on in 2021. Did we miss some of your anticipated games? If so, comment below and let us know. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you loved the video, be sure to hit that notification button. It really helps us out.